So I'm just an idiotic, stupid dog, and sometimes you find yourself rummaging, not rummaging, but exploring, not even exploring, but just befuddling. You're befuddling around the manor house. You could walk around the outskirts of the property. You could investigate all the nooks and crannies of the innards of the property, the mulberry bushes, the swing sets. They put up badminton courts and volleyball courts. They put up kickball courts. The manor house's property was so huge. They had two little league. One was a little league baseball. I don't want to say stadium, baseball field. The other one was a full-on, full-dimension soccer field. They had a half-court basketball court. They had an indoor swimming pool. They had an outdoor swimming pool. They had an indoor tennis court. They had an outdoor tennis court. That's one thing you want to remember is Cold Store Jimmy's estate, they didn't have everything the manor house had. Their manor house was more taut, more tight, more beautiful, more kept up. Ours was much more, whatever you say, developmental. There's a lot more development. They had a lot more, whatever you would say, accoutrement or whatever. So anyways, as an idiotic, stupid dog, you start meandering around. I was meandering. I befuddled my way back into the manor house. I was like, gosh, I'm dreary-eyed. I'm sleepy. I don't know what. And I was getting nuzzled down in the big parlor room on the carpet that there was a little Native American Indian boy, and I think they were from the Iroquois tribe. I'm not sure about that, but they had these really bright purple rugs, and I nestled down on one of those it's like a 180-year-old bright purple rug that they had gotten from an Indian tribe at some point. But there's so much, not ennui, not effervescence, not whatever you say. There's just so much substantiality. There's so much history. There's so much exuding forth out of that rug. From all the times that people, whatever they did over top of that rug, no one could guess what would happen over the 180 years. Like the last 57 years, there's nothing happened. Like dust settled. But like before that, there was a lot of shit that happened, weirdo, freaky shit that happened over the top of that rug. And it oozed down into the fabric. And so when I nuzzle down and I get to sleep on, I'm like, my dreams are going to be psychedelic. But I could hear the man talking out in the corridor where the phone is kept. It's like a commerce artery into the manor house. And he was saying, I don't even know why, what his problem was, what he was worried about, but he's like, that's not how Dad would have wanted it. And I was like, gosh, the man's dad's been dead for a long time. He doesn't have to worry too much about what Dad would have wanted or didn't want. So anyways, I'm thinking about it, and this is what I was really thinking about, is I seen a pork chop bone in the trash in the interior. It's like not a breakfast nook, but it's like where they staged all the hors d'oeuvres and where they had the bar. It was a little kitchen that was built right on the parlor room for when they had a bunch of guests and they would watch a Super Bowl. I think they watched Joe Namath win the whatever he won after he guaranteed he could win it. And then there was this Hyacinth or somebody. He was a big college basketball star. They named the college Hall of Fame after him. His Hyacinth or something. Nascent. I don't know what his name was. I remember when they watched that, and my dog remembered. They were watching that, and they were eating all kinds of freaky deaky hors d'oeuvres. But the man, he was like, that's not the way Dad would have wanted it. And I was like, who the hell is he talking to? He has a couple cousins. He has no brothers or sisters. The mom is dead. The dad is dead. There's no brothers or sisters. Who's he speaking with? He has a couple cousins. I think they're second cousins. I think one time he tried to make a pass at one of his cousins and she slapped him. And then the other cousin, she was more homely. She was hot still, but she was the B-side cousin. They kind of, they slept and nuzzled and I cooed and spooned. God, it was disgusting. And my dog remembered so I could see it. Plus, I remember seeing it as a puppy. It was disgusting. I was like, gosh, you're related. You got too much genetic material confluence or consuescence. You got too much commonality in your genetic material to start spooning. Yeah, it's disgusting. But who's he speaking with? When he goes, that's not how Dad would have wanted it. And I was like, who gives a shit? Dad's been dead for so long. Plus, it can't be that big of a deal. You have no money. You have no wherewithal. You know, what, you got a secret something going on that we can't figure out for ourselves? But anyways, I got stirred up and woken up. I'm an idiotic, stupid dog. I was sleeping on that posh purple rug. I think that the Iroquois Indians had gifted the great-grandfather. He passed it on, of course, to the grandfather. He passed it on to the dad, and it became the man's. Eventually, that purple rug became the man's. And I was nuzzled in, and I heard the man saying, that's not the way Dad would have wanted it. I was like, gosh, you know. But, I mean, that's one of those open-ended things. This ain't a big parlor room. You can't even name this so no one could see it. A few adherents might see it. But, you know, this was the kind of a thing where when you're purveying, when you're perusing, when you're voyeur-esquely just snoozing, it might come up that you're like, oh my God, I think a new soap opera started. I think something new is starting to happen in the Manor House. It's been a long time since anything shook up the Manor House, so we'll see. Who knows? It could be, you know, or it could be, you know, so we'll see.